Very good afternoon, good evening, everyone. And today is our Tao Te Ching review. And then we will start from chapter 38 to chapter 81. And I don't think we can finish to chapter 81. But we try to finish up to chapter 55 to chapter 60, about 20 chapter. So that means we will spend about 5 to 10 minutes each chapter to discuss. So it's a fast pace. Okay. So we will raise you can raise your hand and for each chapter, and then you just read the translation. Right now we only use one version, the version Amang and I work on. And then it doesn't mean that's the only version which is correct, but that means we are going to review on this version. And then if you disagree on the translation or anything, that's fine. But you can say that when you read it. But the point is, I would like to hear how to your thinking about each chapter. So let's start, and then Kwang already has his hands up, and okay. So let me share the screen. Just 1 minute. Okay, so you can see the screen. Okay, so you can either read from the screen or from the PDF file I sent out. So yeah, Kwang, please.
Okay, so I will read chapter 38, Retaining the Profundity. The man of superior Te is not conscious of his Te, he has Te. The man of inferior Te is intent on not losing his Te, he is without Te. The man of superior Te performs wu-wei without intention. The man of inferior Te performs action with intention. The man of superior Ran performs actions without intention. The man of superior E performs action with intention. The man of superior Li performs actions and finds no responses, so he rolls up sleeves to drag others. Therefore, lacking Tao, people start to act from Te. Lacking Te, people start to act from Ran. Lacking Ran, people start to act from E. Lacking E, people start to act from Li. Those who perform Li indeed lack devotion and trustworthiness. They are the principles of disturbances. They indeed perform a flowery Tao. They are the beginning of folly. Therefore, a great man always retains what is profound and does not dwell on what is meager. He retains the fruit and does not dwell on the flowers. He avoids the latter, meaning the meagerness and flowers, and takes the former, the profundity and fruits. End of the stanza.
Thank you, Kwang. Yeah, you have anything to say about this, I believe.
Oh, yes, because this stanza is the perfect explanation of my beloved hexagram once again. Okay, so that synthetic graphic representation of epistemology according to the Chinese classical tradition. So I would like to mention first that I absolutely agree with the translators, meaning Jason and Amon, for having retained the Chinese words because those Chinese words are polysemic, have many layers, are very rich concepts. So it is a kind of signaling to the reader that those words deserve to be explored for their own graphic representation and their own semantic exploration. For that being said, I'm coming back to the hexagram because the hexagram, once again, oh, I think that I have a graphic representation here. Sorry. Um, so, so you have on the right side, you have the character Wang, but on the left side, you have the hexagram number 11 for Tai, supreme peace. So you see a three plane line for lines 1, 2, 3, because the first line is at the bottom and the top line is at the top. So the first three lines are plane, and line 4, 5, 6, the lines of the upper trigram in the case of this hexagram are broken. Okay, so those, and you notice for those who never saw an hexagram, that there is a bigger space between the first three bottom lines and the three upper lines. So each of those lines represent a level of mind development or level of awareness. So coming back to the stanza, the first line, let's go by the top, okay? The sixth line, because the stanza is going from the top to the bottom. So the sixth line, the supreme line, is the Tao. So lacking Tao, people start to act from Te. Okay, so the sixth line, the top line, is the highest epistemological development, the level of mind development with the highest awareness. That is the sixth line, is Tao. So if people don't have that level of awareness, they will drop to the fifth line, which is Te. And if they don't have enough they will drop to run, right? And here, and if they don't have enough run, they will drop to E. And if they don't have enough E, they will drop to Li. Here, I have to say that Li is the second line, okay? And the second line is the line of intellectual learning, okay? The rituals. So here, I want to make a distinction between Li and Li. If Li correspond to the second line, it means a robotic learning, an imitation, a repetition. But Li can also be understood as a ritual, but combined with the highest awareness. So we have to be careful here. But in this stanza, it is absolutely clear that Li correspond to the second line because we start from the top, Tao, Te, Ran, Yi, Li, right? And what I want to stress too is the translation that I will read again. The man of superior Ran performs action without intention, okay? Here, without intention doesn't mean that you're completely out of your mind or you have a mental illness that you're not capable to focus. It doesn't mean that. Without intention, meaning it's the wu-wei, okay? So the man of superior Te performs wu-wei, meaning without intention, meaning it is your action is not motivated by your selfish desire. You are acting out of spontaneous infinite awareness, out of compassion. But the man of inferior Te performs action with intention. And here, the intention can be good, okay? In the sense that I have the intention to be a good person, for example, and there's nothing wrong having the intention of being a good person. But epistemologically speaking, it is flowing from the ego, okay? The fact that you have an intention, and you can have a good ego, of course, you can be a good person. But here, once again, epistemologically speaking, it is not flowing from infinite awareness. And once again, I read again certain sentences that I believe are important. The man of superior run. Okay, once again, one possible translation is perfect humanity, but as I said 5 minutes earlier, I agree with the translators for having kept the original Chinese word. So the man of superior run performs actions without intention, meaning that it is flowing spontaneously from his infinite awareness. A little bit like in English when someone is praising you for having done something outstanding or praiseworthy, you sincerely answer, well, it was simply natural. Okay, so you did not do that because you wanted to be perceived as a good person, or because you wanted to get money, or because you wanted to be praised. It was simply natural to save that baby who would be crushed by the car, for example. You did not even think about that. It was a spontaneous action flowing from infinite awareness. Okay, in that sense is it without intention, and not in the sense of being completely lost in your mind, or having a mental pathology. It's not in that sense. So the man of superior E performs, and here you see, each time when we were speaking of superior te or superior ran, it is without intention. But please note here that the man of superior E performs action with intentions. Okay, so we have Tao, we have Te, we have Ran. Those are the stuff of the upper trigrams. Okay, of the line in the top part, line 4, 5, and 6. So when is superior Tao, superior Te, or superior E, it is without intention. But when we drop into the lower trigram, okay, meaning the third line or the second line, the man of superior E performs actions with intention, okay, meaning that when epistemologically you drop into the lower trigram of the animal kingdom, E meaning the desire to perform things in a fair manner, justice, if you want, righteousness is maybe better in this case. Even if you have a superior E, it is flowing from your ego, from your psychic structure of your personality, and it is no longer a spontaneous flow from infinite awareness. And the same for the man of superior Li, second line of the hexagram, performs action and finds no responses, so he rolls up sleeves to drag others. Okay, so at Li, meaning at rituals, at social conventions, uh, even if he's at the superior Li, well, when he performs action, he might not be so successful, and he would or even rolls up his sleeves to drag others, meaning to force order to participate in his stuff, or in his shenanigans, or in his supposed marvelous plans. That is not so marvelous after all, because it was not something that flowed spontaneously from his infinite awareness. So I want to read another paragraph and I would end there. Therefore, lacking Tao, people start to act from Te, meaning that the best is to be at the infinite awareness of Tao. But if it's not possible because they lack Tao, they wouldn't use the next level of awareness called Te. And lacking Te, people start to act from a Ran. So people drop another level of awareness. Lacking Ran, people start to act from E. And here, it's truly they slip from the upper trigram of the divine dimension, or of the timeless dimension, to the animal kingdom. Okay, and electing E, people start to act from Li, which is another step below in the animal kingdom. They did not mention the first line, because the first line is the sense perceptions. Okay, so the sense perceptions, they are not really a concept related to the first line of sense perception, because the second line corresponds to Li, meaning the intellectual learning, and after that you have E, social convention. And here I want to put and the first line of the upper trigram, but the fourth line from the bottom, Run, the fifth line, Te, and the sixth line, Tao. Just a small pedantic detail. Most of the time, a Run is put at the fifth line, but here it's Te for the Laozi. I think it's okay. I don't want to go into those small pedantic details. The main idea being, starting from the highest infinite awareness, we slip step by step to the lower level of awareness, and at the lower levels of awareness, it's no longer the spontaneous flowing of that infinite awareness that would give spontaneously the right behavior, the right speech at a given specific situation. I stop here.
All right, thank you, Kwang. Yeah, this one take a little bit long. That's the reason. That they have the reason, because this text is long, and that's important. And it's beginning of the so-called the third chapter. And one day, since we are going to, after 2 weeks, we are going to read the Confucius Analect. So this one has a specific meaning. And I would like to remind is, in Confucius, I don't translate the as I will translate as virtue. Okay, even it's the same word, because that's what I believe. Confucius had a different meaning on that. And the second thing is, in Confucius Analect, the ren, which would be higher position, okay, than de, okay, and the E and D, richer, it also has a different priority. And we will have time to discuss more detail when we go to Confucius Analect. So as a rule, let's move on to the next chapter, chapter 39. And I saw Mark have a hands up. Mark, you want to read, or you have other things?
I just had a question for Quan, because he hadn't mentioned the first level. And then he clarified that it was
okay. He already mentioned the sense perception. Yeah.
So
okay.
I can,
anyway, Yulia, you want to read?
Yes, no, I just had a quick comment for the translators.
Okay, go ahead.
Because your Western reader might not know the Chinese characters.
Yes.
When you have the notes on the bottom, it would be helpful for me at least if you could kind of use footnotes.
Yeah.
So
okay,
you know that you refer to, because I can't find it easily because I don't know the characters.
Let me address that, because I'm actually doing this edit now. I'm putting them as endnotes. So in one large full compendium, there will be endnotes for all of the translations, but they'll be flagged clearly as to which Chinese word it is that's being pointed to and what the commentary or translation is in the endnotes. Hopefully that helps.
That's so great. That's great. Thank you.
And on the first page, okay, I kind of standardized the translation here, and well, it's difficult to find it, but I don't think we have so many words. So basic alphabetary, okay, so in English. So you can find out, and in general, where, for example, sage, that's 圣人 in Chinese. De, okay, it's this word, and earth is this word. So this one is the standardized. Well, I hope it's really consistent, but I think it's consistent. But okay, that's the only thing I did, and Among is editing in a better way. But so anyway, so let's move on to chapter 39. That's raised hand. Is anyone want to read? Okay, and you can read it just and leave for open discussion. You don't have to always explain in the detail. So
yeah, I can read.
Okay, go ahead, please.
In ancient times, those that attained oneness were the heavens. Having attained oneness would be clear. The earth, having attained oneness, would be peaceful. The spirits, having attained oneness, would be effective. The basins, having attained oneness, would be filled. All things, having attained oneness, would be productive. And lords and kings, having attained oneness, would be able to govern the world. If the heavens are not clear, one day they may be fractured. Oh, furthermore, I'm sorry. If the heavens are not clear, one day they may be fractured. If the earth is not peaceful, one day it may be destroyed. If the spirits are not effective, one day they may be dormant. If the basins are not filled, one day they may dry up. If all things are not productive, one day they will be extinct. If lords and kings are not governing, but merely noble and high, one day they may be overthrown. Thus, the noble is rooted in the lowly, the advanced are grounded upon the inferior. This is why the lords and kings call themselves the lonely, the solitude, the incapable. Isn't this a case of taking the lowly as the root? Isn't this so? Therefore, many honors are like no honors at all. Desire not to be glamorous like jade, but to be solid like rock.
And before your commentary, Mark, Jason, there's a request if we can increase the font size for...
Oh, sorry. Like this. Oh, okay. So, Mark, do you have a comment or anything you want to say about this chapter?
Well, I hadn't prepared anything, but I'm very impressed by the attention to oneness and unity. And each thing has its own individual perfection, we could say, individual oneness. And we have the heavens, the earth, the spirits, the basins, all things, and Lord and kings. So we do have 6 levels mentioned, although I don't know that we have to force it into the form of a hexagram, but I'm sure we could in some way. And then you have the logical relation of the perfection contrasted with the destruction. Very, very contemporary sounding. Such lines as, if the earth is not peaceful, one day it may be destroyed. That really, really stuck out and resonated with me. Very no-nonsense translation.
Thank you, Mark. So let's move on. Okay. Chapter 40. 40 is very short. Volunteer.
No hands I can read.
Okay, go ahead.
Returning is the movement of the Tao. Tenderness is the function of the Tao. All things under heaven are produced from being. Being is produced from non-being, nothingness. This is a description of the Tao in a section about the. And so it is kind of jarring. It seems like he's maybe talking about something else, but then to remember, this is advice about the. So what is the advice here? Returning. That's how the Tao is, so you be this way. Tender, that is how the Tao is, so you should be this way. These two things, and when he says returning, what does he mean? Getting back to basics. Having the chapter before this was about oneness, a singular, solitary sense of purpose that you can return to, can keep coming back to, can keep as your lodestone. And tenderness, you're not going to just drive through everybody else with your ideas. That's what the man of Li does by rolling up his sleeves and dragging others along. That's what we learned before. Tenderness is yielding, it gives. All things under heaven are produced from being. That just seems like an okay statement. Being, however, is produced from non-being. So when you're doing nothing, are you in fact doing nothing, or are you creating space, space for potentiality, space for opportunity? This is how one cultivates one's de to be most harmonious with the Tao. I'll keep mine short and sweet. Anyone else wants to comment, or we can move on? It's your call, Jason.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. That's the standard translation. I instead okay. I translate as being, and wu, and some people translate as emptiness, and I translate as non-being, to be opposite of being. Okay, so that's the I keep this consistent. So chapter 41 is a little bit longer, and anyone want to read? Please raise your hand. Or Joe, please.
Okay, chapter 41, Hearing the Tao. When the superior scholars hear about the Tao, they practice it diligently. When the average scholars hear about the Tao, they ignore it unintentionally. When the inferior scholars hear about the Tao, they laugh at it loudly. If they, the inferior, hadn't laughed, it would not be the Tao. Thus, here are some sayings. The clear Tao appears dim. The advanced Tao appears retreating. The smooth Tao appears rugged. The superior De appears low. The ultimate whiteness appears spotted. The spreading De appears insufficient. The robust De appears indolent. The real truth appears changeable. The great square appears to have no corners. The great vessel appears to have not completed. The great melody appears to have inaudible sounds. The great image appears to have no form. The great square has no. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I read
No,
that?
this one is just I just keep the underline as the two options. Okay, because I haven't decided what would be the better. Yeah, you can tell me which one you like. So
Okay, I'll read the second option as well. The great square has no corners. The great vessel is not completed. The great melody has inaudible sounds. The great image has no form. The Tao is hidden and nameless. Only the Tao is good at providing and completing. I have no comments.
that's fine. Anybody have any comment? You're welcome.
My question, Jason, would be why are you vacillating between appears and is or has?
Yes, the situation is Chinese words here has no verb. Okay, only say the great, let's say great melody, inaudible sounds. So it's kind of a great image, no form. So which is opposite to our empirical, our daily experience, right? When you see the image, it must have a form. So kind of opposite. So I'm debating whether or not I should say the big thing appears small, or I should say the big thing is small. That's the
I hear you. I hear you. And I think that if you say in English appears, it sometimes carries with it the implication that it may not be that way. It
yes,
only appears that way.
yes.
So if you want to have that implication, then use appears. But if you don't, then you should just have it the second way.
Yeah, and that's why I haven't decided. And I think in Chinese you probably can have a different meaning. Okay, so because there's no verb in this sentence, so then of course you can interpret in a different way. Some people will say, for example, that was called Dao Yi. Okay, Dao and the oneness. So is Dao Dao Da, right? Does that mean Dao is great, or Dao, well, Dao equal to greatness, or Dao is great as an adjective? So you can have a different interpretation, and you come with different understanding. Okay, that's I try to preserve.
I'm going to weigh in here too and say I too am conflicted. It appears that the common go-to way to translate this by most translators is to hedge the bets, to say it seems or it appears to have, as opposed to making it sort of a definitive statement. But there is something to the profundity of this as a universal fact that is just overlooked. The great square has no corners. The great vessel has not been completed. And that should actually have a been. The great melody has inaudible sounds. The thing that's interesting about that is it's almost more rhetorically jarring, but that to be rhetorically jarring is in theme with Lao Tzu's way of presenting his materials. And so, yeah, kind of like Jason, I'm torn. I don't know which one I actually prefer. I like them both for different reasons.
Mark, you have a further comment?
I just wanted to recall that when we first read this a couple of months ago, Quan had made the point that this offers a conceptual matrix. And since the Tao is all embracing, we should embrace the three ways of the superior scholars, the average scholar, and the inferior scholar. All three.
Okay, so all right, so we would not resolve all the problem. Okay, so we will move and then to the next section. And I think the purpose is have every chapter, okay, in a short time we go over, and we know what we don't know, and we agree what we disagree, and then I think that would be the purpose. So chapter 42. Okay, probably I read it. So the Tao produces one. One produces two. Two produces three. Three produces all things. All things back in embraces yang and immerse or blend qi in order to achieve harmony. People avoid words like the lonely, the solitude, or the incapable. But kings and the duke use these words to refer themselves. Therefore, things may appear damaged, but actually be beneficial. they may appear beneficial, but actually be damaging. What other people teach is what I'm teaching. The strong, rigid people usually don't die naturally. This is my principal teaching. I like to focus here at what this one is also related to previous chapter. We discuss appear or seems to be or is, right? So here, talking about things may appear damaging, but actually beneficial. Laozi in this style like to talk about something looks damaging, but it's beneficial. Something is beneficial, but actually it's damage. Same thing. That's why I kind of not sure we should use affirmative or use appearing on the previous chapter, because something big but has no corner or seems has no corner. Okay, I think let's have this kind of feeling here. So really, the purpose of my Among and I, we try to do is, if you read the Chinese has some ambiguity, then I should make sure, in English, you also have some ambiguity. So that will leave room for the reader to understand or to develop your own thought. So that's 41. Unless someone has some quick comment, I will move to 42. Okay, 42, 43. Should I do 40? Oh, 43. Oh, one more thing. This one is, I think this one is very famous on the very first line. Okay. The Tao produces one and one produces two, two produces three. Okay. And what's one, what's two, what's three? And again, that's the Chinese word. And some people will say two is yin yang and the three is heaven, man, and the earth. And well, it didn't say that, but that's open to you to understand what's the meaning of that. And I believe actually it is. This chapter is the only chapter in Dao De Jing talk about yin yang. I think that's the only chapter talk about this. Mark, you have a question or comment?
Just what I was going to say is that the yin yang comes in very infrequently, and that's what's really stands out, as well as qi here.
Yeah.
So we get all of the concepts that are being put into relationship with each other.
It's one of the few times in the Dao De Jing that it's explicit. It could be seen as being implicit in many of the other texts, but this is one of the few that really kind of lays bare what I have written about as the Taoist metaphysic, or the cosmology, the foundational sort of, how does it all work? There it is, right in the opener.
Thank you, Amam. Let's move to chapter 43. Very short.
Oh, I can read if that. Oh,
Joe.
Help you out here. Chapter 43, the softest. The world's softest can prevail over the world's hardest. Non-being can penetrate the seamless. By this, I know the benefits of wu-wei. Teaching of no words and the benefits of wu-wei are rare in the world. I can help you reading, but when it comes to the commentary, I have to pass.
Anyone want to comment on this one?
I will say that here is an implicit yin of yin yang. The world's softest can prevail over the world's hardest. Soft and hard are quintessential yin yang qualities. Non-being can penetrate the seamless. Again, yin and yang, reticent, hard, soft, penetrating. And this is again a lesson in De. How do you develop your yin De through Wei?
Thank you, Armand. And do you, I think they just try to speak to you, right? You teaching with of no words.
Yes, in Tai Chi, this is actually sort of a foundational principle of practice in Tai Chi. That if you're, I always say you can't do Tai Chi right. You can do it wrong. And the way you do it wrong is by trying too damn hard. If you are trying too damn hard, you're doing it all wrong. You should be enjoying. It should feel fun, easy, soft, not forced. And when you're doing something repetitively, just for the fun of it, it actually winds up being locked in deeper into your mind. And there are all the tools of the toolkit start to imprint themselves into your brain so that if and when needed, there they are.
Mark, please.
I guess at this point, I'm beginning to wonder whether the Tao is connected with non-being.
Well, we are still constrained by, we could talk about it, but that's not the Tao. But I think you're onto something. I would also love to encourage, if I see those hands go up, I'll call you out. Please feel free to read. It's your chance to speak your thoughts unabashedly about what you see in front of you as far as the text goes and as far as the Tao Te Ching. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and move right along to 44.
Yeah, thank you. And I really encourage everyone try to express your feeling, because be honest, Tao, the text in Chinese is not that clear. So that's why people like to read it, and then sometimes you feel like some sentence speak to your mind. So it's a different than regular philosophical essay. So I think that's important.
I could do this like class and start calling on people by name who are trying to hide.
So Armand, you want to call out somebody?
I will. Yeah, I want to, but I will read 44 and give everybody some bullet sweating pass for the moment. 44, knowing when to stop. Reputation or life? Which do you hold more dear? Life or wealth? Which do you want more? Gaining or losing? Which do you worry about? Therefore, extreme cherishing leads to great spending. Extreme hoarding leads to heavy loss. Knowing contentment, one can avoid disgrace. Knowing when to stop, one can avoid danger. Knowing these, one can endure long. This chapter intimates and hints around and gets right to what I think is one of the most important lessons of Taoism: enough. And it's the same lesson that's reiterated in the very last chapter that we talked about last week, 81. Know when enough is enough. And that works both ways. More effort or less effort, but only just enough effort.
So Joe, you have a comment or question?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
That line, therefore, extreme cherishing leads to great spending. Could you maybe explain that one?
I'll take a crack at that, and I'll use a
ahead.
very practical example that was very recent. So, extreme cherishing leads to great spending. You want something desperately. You will spend. How many of us have car loans? That's spending more than we actually possess. How many of us wanted a house? Most of you probably then therefore also have a mortgage. That leads to greater spending than you have the means for. We've turned this into a norm in modern society, but once upon a time, the idea of doing it on credit, that was a really bad idea. But the only reason you do that is because you want something so much. Yeah, so I'm not saying there's no practical purpose for ever taking credit. I have my own mortgage, don't have a car payment yet, but I will, because I really, really want an electric car. I want to never buy gas again. That is something I'm cherishing, the idea of never spending on gas again. But I'll spend a fortune on an electric car when the time comes for it to obtain that, and probably more than buying another small motorcycle that got 50 miles to the gallon would necessarily do, and may have a better footprint overall. It's not always the recipe for greatest decision making.
Yeah.
Danny, did you have a comment or did you want to read?
No, I have a comment. It's just that cherish sounds like more like a desire, that you want to desire something very bad. The more desire that you have, the more spending that you will. It's like women desire a handbag, and they keep buying handbag and handbag and handbag that they don't need. They just want to be you buying it. No, and you can see that it's on the fashion world and on everywhere. No, collectibles and everything else. That's what is. I was when those words comes into mind. You're like, okay, somebody have desire, therefore they will do whatever they would take to get it. No.
Yeah, I agree with you. Joe,
Thank you, Danny.
comment?
And the Chinese word here used is I, which means a lot of translation you will see they translate as Dao. Okay, so in general, Taoism against extreme. So Shen Ai, you love too much, you turn out spend too much. Okay, so you have been father, anyone be father or mother. Okay, you don't know, you know how much you spend on your kids. So,
Try
Joe,
grandkids.
They get exemption though. Quick question. My version has you have extreme cherishing. Mine has excessive love.
yes,
Is
because
one more correct than the other?
okay.
Your explanation based on cherishing, I understand. Based on this term of excessive love, less so.
I decide instead of translate as love, I translate as cherishing, and sometimes would I translate for care, okay, for love, okay, because I do believe English love and the Chinese I is not equal, okay, because I think the English love is different when Chinese, and especially ancient Chinese, use I, which is modern Chinese use for love. So for a couple love each other, we will use today we use the same word. But in ancient time, I believe this word means even more than a desire than love. Okay, that's what. Okay.
I normally drop etymology into chat, but I'm just going to speak this one because it's long and complicated. The character I is made up of really three components: a claw, a cover, and a heart. And so you could say anything that claws at or consumes or grasps at your heart. And yeah, you could definitely spin that as love in a Hallmark card, but it could also be read as a negative. And here Lao Tzu presents it as a negative. And so I do like the choice of using cherish because it hints at that positive connotation that is so common. But when you see extreme cherishing, like Danny pointed out, you think of desire, you think of, and then it's easier to sort of make that leap of logic that, oh, yeah, that could be a bad thing to have as opposed to a good thing. A claw, a cover, and a heart. Now, claw is on top, the cover is over the, or excuse me, the cover's over, the claw is above that, and the heart's below that.
Yeah, just like Amon said, in English love, probably there's no negative consequence. Let's put it this way, okay? But that's why I kind of not try to avoid use the word love. Okay, let's move on to chapter 45, another short chapter. I think Among you can appoint someone to, and Kwang should not read this one because it's too simple for you.
Yulia, I want to hear you read. I already heard you speak.
Sure. Okay. The great accomplishments appear incomplete, but their functionality is flawless. The great surpluses appear empty, but their functionality is inexhaustible. The great straightness appears crooked. The great skillfulness appears awkward. The great arguments appear inarticulate. Coldness, frigidness, overcomes heat, fervency. Serenity overcomes tumult. Clearness and serenity are the way to govern. And I assume that this chapter also has the same issue with appears as the previous ones.
Okay, so this one appear, I honor the word because the Chinese word here use raw, okay, and I believe the proper translation is appear, look like, okay, seemingly. So I do honor the Chinese word. That's why I use appear, and that's why I kind of on the previous two chapter, I kind of assume they have appear there, just drop it because that's the tone in general. Because the Dao De Jing never been like, at least my understanding, never been too strict and make a clear definition. Like to say something look like, something appear, something seemingly, this kind of thing.
Yeah, so this would seem to imply that for us who don't understand, for instance, what great straightness is, right? It seems to us that it's crooked. So we mistake, you know, we're not seeing clearly. We're not able to see clearly.
Or just maybe not as unconventionally. That would be how I describe it. It's not necessarily that you're not seeing it clearly, but looking at things in an unconventional way to see, you know, your bank account's full. Well, it's going to be empty. You know, thinking of it in the inverse terms of what's right there. When something appears to be clearly straight, and that is actually the same word as, you know, righteous or upright, or then it might actually be crooked, which is, you know, the case when something is too good to be true, or, you know, somebody who's really skilled at something can appear to make it look like they're clumsy at it. There's some, actually, if anyone's a Jackie Chan fan, he is a master of this, because his entire shtick to fame was to make himself look like he was bumbling through. But to do that, he had to be incredibly skillful to make it, pull it off and make it seem believable all at the same time. Yeah, when I talk about, you know, an unconventional view, the Tao Te Ching is instructing an unconventional view, but it can't tell you you must look at it this way or this is the only way, but it's saying you should consider this. because when you see it at first blush, think of it the inverse way again and see what that does to your interpretation and your thinking on. That's at least my 2 cents on this.
Thank you, Amam. Yeah, I think I agree with you on this. Okay, let's move on. 46. Anyone want to read?
Oh,
Paul.
Nice and short. Chapter 46, Knowing Contentment. When the world was governed with Tao, fast horses worked the soil. When the world was governed without Tao, war horses were born on the battlefield. No disaster is greater than not knowing contentment. No mistake is greater than willing to gain. Therefore, the contentment of knowing contentment is always the contentment. I remember the discussion of war horses being born on the battlefield and what that meant. And I don't have any comment except it brings back good memories of the discussion of this meetup back then.
I do remember the discussion about war horses being born on a battlefield and how awful things had to be for such a thing to occur. But it's kind of interesting because war at that time was always expansionist. It was always about gobbling up the neighbor. And this is about knowing contentment. Again, knowing when enough's enough. This is just a reiteration of that. Any other thoughts from anyone else, though? I'd love to hear them.
Okay,
All right.
let's move on. 47.
I like it though. Now that people know they're going to get called out, hands are raising. Anybody want to jump and volunteer, or should I start picking on somebody? Oh, Donna.
Okay, great.
Okay, so without going out heaven's Tao. Without going out the door, you can know the world. Without peeking through the window, you can see heaven's Tao. The further you go, the less you know. That's why the sage, without traveling, yet knows. Without appearing, is yet renowned. Without seeing, yet knows. Without acting, yet completes.
The reason I put a break here is this sentence, these two, without appearing, you renown, okay, 不见而明, 不见而明, they have the two different words, depending on which one you use, okay. If you use this word, that means renowned. If you use this word, it means you know. So they have the two different versions in Chinese. That's why I make a two different version in English. So just a comment. So sorry, Donna, you have any comment, please?
No, thank you. I don't. Thank you.
Okay, you don't have to, but you know. So. Yeah. Any comment or question on this chapter?
Jason, I would just say that the explanation you just gave for putting in the bracketed part could be also in your notes.
I just wrote it down to make sure I included.
This one?
Yeah, that there's a discrepancy in the last word there.
Which one?
Between
Oh yeah. No.
Yeah. Let's see.
Can you highlight which part?
Yeah. Here and
Oh yeah, yes.
here.
Yeah, these two words. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the same pronunciation, and then I'm not sure which one is on which version, but it's Because it's very old text. Sometimes we not sure, which text, which character is the original one.
And just in case I can head it off, the word in question is Ming, and the first version of it means name, whereas the second version of it means bright, if you literally translate it. The first version is actually colloquially how you would ask someone their name. 你是什么名字? But the second version is the Ming, as in the Ming Dynasty. And so I will be sure to have this in the notes.
Yeah. And also the word jian and xian, right? So these two words is different in today's language, but in old time, these two words are the same word. So they cause the problem, right? So if you use the first thing, that means you don't appear, but you are known by other people. But if you use the second one, that means you without seeing, but you know. Okay, so sounds like, well, I think both work. Okay, but that's why that's why I keep both on that.
Any other comments or any other questions?
We spent 1 hour on 10
stanzas. We can probably
so
get
look
through.
like we are doing good timing.
Yeah. All right. Do I get to pick on people
48?
or?
Yeah, 48. I like to do this one. Okay. Because
Go ahead.
I really like this one. Pursuing knowledge is a process of increasing daily. Pursuing Tao is a process of decreasing daily. Decreasing and decreasing again until wu-wei is reached. Practice wu-wei, but nothing is left undone. Those who gain the world usually do so by not interfering. Interfering is not a way to gain the world. I think this to me, I will follow, okay, line by line on my daily life and probably through the end of my life, probably, because interfering is bad. Wu-wei is good. So I will always remind myself, okay, wu-wei always a choice, okay, without action. So that means I do nothing. It means non-action or wu-wei always one of my choice. For example, I see my kids fall down on the floor. My first reaction is helping get up, but not helping also one of my choice when I make decision. So I think that's very important. Second thing, on the first side, pursuing knowledge is a process of increasing daily. Pursuing Tao is a process of decreasing daily. To me, this line speak to me a lot. So, for example, I think every Saturday I have the Asian philosophy presentation, and then you see the situation is when I study, I try to increase my knowledge daily because I'm reading, okay, and then I try to gain more knowledge. But when I prepare the Saturday presentation, actually I'm decreasing because I'm not deciding which part I have to put in the presentation. I'm removing what I know. I removing what I know. Okay, only keep as little as possible in the presentation. So that's the way I find out. That's pursuing knowledge and the pursuing Tao. One is plus, one is minus. Another thing, I'm in the technology world. Before I think before I turned 35, every technology is increasing. Okay, you have a phone, you have something called PDA, you have laptop, you have the desktop, you have many gadgets. But right now we are in the situation of decreasing. We want to have one phone to take care of everything and keep reducing. So to me, I think every sentence on this one is very important, especially this word wu-wei or wu-bu-wei. Practice wu-wei, but nothing left undone. Okay, that's very important. Take a bet. Another example is you never, myself, never be the most important people. So something need to done, see, always have somebody willing to do. Okay, so let the people do it.
Maybe you could
Okay, so I
put your computer on.
Penny, you had some? Did you have something you wanted to say, or? My bad. The only thing I wanted to add to what Jason was saying here is my personal little pet peeve, which is the propensity for people to talk about wu-wei without wei, wu-wei, or wu-wei, wei. The idea that do nothing, no, do nothing, but nothing is not undone. Nothing is left undone. Nothing is neglected. Wu-wei is not absolute retreat or surrender from all action. It is just enough action that it doesn't appear or feel like action to get what you need done. So that is the one thing I really like about this chapter, is that it kind of drives the point that it's not just no action. It's no action with completed results. So obviously some action must occur. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying that. And I'm because it's way wu wei. And Wei Wu Wei was connected with non-intention. So maybe we can think of it as, because I'm assuming the Wei is that the action, Wu is no. So it's like action, no intention.
Or act, no act.
Okay.
So, Mark, you say your understanding is wei is intention, action. So wei wu wei means action, no intention.
I was just suggesting something like that. Yeah.
Okay, I think that would be your interpretation. Let's put it this
Yeah.
way. Okay.
I'd
Yeah.
also say it's a pretty common interpretation, but I don't think it's universalizable.
Probably there's no universal.
Oh, I think we got a lot of readers, or Danny and Paul have something to say.
Okay, please. Yeah, Danny.
I have something. It's like wu-wei is, it's like humbleness. It's almost like it's an action, but it's like it's hold back. Your action is like hold back, but at the same time, it's almost doing something. No, just watch, hold back and watch what happened, and follow what and start working, as it goes. It's like it's telling us how to control ourselves. I don't know how that it's a feeling like you're holding back. No, your action, but not too much. I'm not sure how to express that.
I think you're onto something there. I can think of an inverse example of it
Correct.
as you're mentioning it, but yeah, you aren't overdoing it. That certainly is the message. You're not going to be, gritting your way through it.
Correct.
You're gonna.
Because when we gain knowledge, we start want to show everybody, and our teachers and everybody said, and parents, usually tell us, no, don't burst out everything, just hold back something, if because you don't know what's going to, or how the other side would be reacting, and that's is what happens. Is like be humble through no, and so and see how things will progress, and then and just flow with it, with your knowledge, which I see a lot, because this is a good way to do on our professional life. It's just to hope you have all the knowledge, but you don't want to push it all out, because you don't know who you're going to how people will react to you when you start like you becoming like a know-it-all, and people start getting upset. But if you push little bit by little bit, no, the reaction doesn't that going to hit you back very hard. No, this is what I saw. I see what this chapter was telling us.
Awesome. Thank you, Danny.
No problem.
Paul, you reading or are you commenting?
Well, I wanted to comment. I think Jason's example, I really appreciate you talking about it in your life, Jason, because the example of your kids really puts a nuance on it, because when a parent says nothing in a situation like that or does nothing, that is so much not nothing. That's a huge action.
Yes.
To not intervene and have the kids work, that's like as strong an action as anything could possibly be, but you were totally silent. I just like that nuance.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. So two brothers fighting, you just watching, or you just make sure they don't really hurt each other. So so you pay a lot of attention, but look, guys, you are not doing anything because you don't want somebody break his leg or arm. But fighting is okay, but in certain degree, that's the decision sometimes you have to make. So let's move on to chapter 49.
Oh, and I was just about to call on you, Nick. Good night, Nick. Any volunteers?
I can read.
Excellent, Joe. Oh,
Is that for reading?
yes, for reading.
It's me? Okay. Chapter
Hang
49. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, Jenny, did you want to read? I don't think you've read yet.
Yeah, I could read.
I thought someone else was reading. Yeah, I'd be happy to.
I'll let you get the
chance
best one.
to Ginny because she haven't read yet. Sorry, Joe. Okay, so
Okay. A sage always usually has nothing in his bosom. His bosom is the bosom of all people. For those who are good, I am good to them. For those who are not good, I am also good to them. This is the D of goodness. For those who are trustworthy, I trust them. For those who are not trustworthy, I also trust them. This is the of trustworthiness. It's a the or day of trustworthiness.
the pronunciation is the. That's the I preserve the Chinese character. Okay,
I see. Thank you. I'm just like somebody else just said earlier. It's amazing, Jason, your talent.
Oh, thank you.
And as well as Aman as well. I mean, you guys are amazing.
Thank you, Jenny. We've got one more section for you, 4 more lines there.
There's a formalize.
Oh dear. Okay. When there is a sage in the world, he blurs his bosom in order not to disturb people. All people focus on their ears and eyes, their own business. The sage treats all of them as children.
Thank you, Ginny.
Thank
Is
you.
there anything comment you want to say about this chapter?
Oh, I just want to make a comment, if you don't mind.
That's the prerogative of reading. Go right ahead.
No, actually, it's something that Jason said earlier about his children, how he doesn't do anything to them, even when they do something that normally a parent would do something. And I just want to ask him, you don't even make a facial expression? I was curious.
I do believe non-interference, okay, to every angle from the government to parenting to everything, because a lot of time it's nothing good or bad, just that thing goes, and interfering is not more, in my opinion. Well, that's where my focus would be non-action always one of your choice. Okay, that's my it's a choice to make no action.
Well, I wish I was exposed to this sort of philosophy 40 years ago.
It's never too late, because Paul, please.
Yeah, another reason I think, I'll just say briefly, I know we don't want to harp on this all night, but another reason I realize your example is powerful, Jason, is it helps me understand previous chapters where it talked about leaders who are best leaders who just basically sounds like do nothing and just but the point is, you as a parent are in a special position. And when you do nothing, it's a something, because you could act. And similarly, a leader who lets the people be is in a position where they could intervene, and they choose not to. So it's much more meaningful, the non-action, if it's done by a person in a position of authority. That's just a revelation this discussion brought to me.
Thank you, Paul.
I'm gonna interject here with a timely anecdote. Non-interference is always an option, and very often the better principle to follow. It is not always enough to accomplish what needs to happen. My partner was recently taken in by a scammer, and I assumed she had done her due diligence. So I stepped back, and operated in full faith that this was handled with her, having done her vigilant, due diligence. I was mistaken. And enough would have been for me to say, hang up the phone, we'll call them back. And just that would have been enough to stem off, a $9,000 fraud. But enough is enough when it still gets what needs to be done. It is better to not say, what the hell are you doing? Get off the phone. Are you crazy? Yes, that would be too much. But nothing was not enough. There is a mean there, a sweet spot of enough to accomplish what needs to happen, but not too much.
I'm sorry, I should have raised my hand.
Okay, go ahead.
Just want to ask, it's like a lot of times it's better to observe, because once you interfere, you have to take sides. If you don't take sides, you end up taking sides of one of the other side. No, and you end up creating more problem to yourself and to everybody around. You instigate this situation even worse. It's better to just to sit back, see how things grows, and then interfere at the right moment to stop the to stop the situation. No, because I've seen friends fighting each other, and you are say friend, you don't want to take both sides and so forth. But once they get to a certain point, and you step in, and you see them, they start throwing punches. You step in and just say, "Hey, stop it." And that's how I think this chapter is just telling us just the right moment, to jump in. But it's better to observe than to jump in, interfere immediately, which is going to be much more problems. That's
Yeah,
my
I think Danny's onto something. The importance of sensitivity to the situation and taking full advantage of the opportunity when it presents itself, when the timing is right. Those are actually very fundamental components of Taoism. And like Jason was saying, watching two brothers sit there and scrap on each other, when they're kids, it's kind of annoying. When they're bigger teenagers, it's potentially deadly. But as one of my old coworkers said, sometimes you got to know when to have a slow emergency. Let them wear each other out and then go interject yourself, because it's going to be a lot easier for you.
Thank you. We shall move on. Is that 40? We do 49, right? Yeah.
Yes, and the
50.
last thing I have to say is I still cringe at hearing the word bosom, but yes, it is the best word version.
I agree with you. That's a great word, because usually translate as heart, mind or heart. And I think before I translate as my heart, but heart mind, but I think bosom probably sounds a little bit old fashioned, but it probably the right word. Yeah. Penny, you want to read chapter 50?
Okay. To live and to die. Emerge to live, recede to die. 3 out of 10 may live, 3 out of 10 may die. 3 out of 10 could live, but die by entering the places of death. Why so? Because they live excessive lives. I heard that some are good at nurturing their lives. They don't encounter rhinos or tigers when walking about the land. They don't bear armor nor weapons when entering the military. Rhinos find no place to thrust their horns. Tigers find no place to lay their claws. Weapons find no places to receive their blades. Why so? They're not in the lands of death.
Do you have any comment about this one?
Well, there's certainly a lot of great images in it.
Okay.
It appears that I think that they're calling for balance and kind of introspection in your life, that you shouldn't just be rushing out to do things without kind of considering where your actions might lead, like rushing out into the woods where there's wild animals or something, or signing up for the military and being put out to be a soldier and fight, in the front lines. So I think that this would be, they were saying that would be putting yourself in the land of death if you do those kind of things. but at the same time, so that's kind of the emerge to live, recede to die almost seems to me like the opposite. Because it almost seems like if you put yourself out there, then you're living, but if you pull yourself in, then you're dying. But that's kind of my comments on it.
I agree with you, basically. I think that the important thing is they are not in the land of death, right? That means you avoid the dangerous position. So you don't. So if you avoid the dangerous position, you don't run into tiger or rhino, which are dangerous. And important, they talk about the build armor. We don't build armor, no weapon when enter in the military. So in another way, you avoid drafting, so you will not die. I think that's and the first comment actually is very puzzle. Okay, 出生入死. I just have to translate as emerge to live, recede to die. Okay, and from the text, I cannot tell what's the tone. It could be, I just have to assume the author just described what it is. You born and then you die. That's the life. Okay. So but anyway, that's up to you, the reader. How are you going to interpret? Okay, we shall move on. 51.
Oh, I guess I should let everybody off the hook for a minute. I can read 51. Maybe, if I can find it. There we go. To honor and to value. Dao produces them. De raises them. Things are formed and conditions are completed. Therefore, all things honor Dao and value De. The honor of Dao and the value of De never command, but let all things be their usual selves. Therefore, Dao produces them, De raises them, grows them, nurtures them, stabilizes them, matures them, supports them, and shields them. It produces without possessing, acts without leading, and grows them without controlling them. This is called mystic De. I love this intro to the Shuandong, or the profound or mysterious or mystic De. This is a concept that is very, very important in terms of Taoist ideas, that there exists a layer of what is going on that is subtext below the surface, the lower current that is more profound, more important, and more worthy of paying attention to and consideration than necessarily what you see at the surface level. The actual, I was going to do the etymology, but I'm going to be really bad at multitasking, so bear with me. So Shen literally means dark, but it's made up by two characters, Te and Yo, which are lid and tiny. So something in this tiny little jar, something hidden away, secreted away, so precious as to be worth, coveting, as it were. And what the Taoist tends to say is that precious thing is not what you think it is at first blush. It's something more important, deeper than your attention. Sorry, it takes a little bit to transition my keyboard between Chinese and English and actually write a etymology here. But yeah, Xuan, or the mystic, the mysterious. I had originally said I liked profound, and I do still like profound, but I am in agreement with the idea of mystic because it is something that is deep, precious, but almost incredibly elusive, I guess would be the way to put it. So what is that incredibly elusive the? It's the that allows life to flourish. It's the fertile backdrop on which the entire circus of life gets to operate. And what is that thing like? Well, it's giving. It's very giving and very undemanding and very receiving and able to grow, nurture, stabilize, but without being in possession of, without, you know, dictating what is to be next. Yeah, so I dropped Shlen into the chat, and I would love to hear anybody else's thoughts on this profound, mysterious duh. And while I do, I'm going to go dark and listen.
So, Amang, you would prefer mystic as a translation?
I liked profound. I think mystic works as well, but really, I mean, dark is what it is, and that is something that I think becomes way too open to interpretation. It invites too many people to sort of treat it as a value judgment thing. And it's not that there's a value judgment. In fact, what the chapter says is that Shren De is not casting judgment or value upon things. It is wholly embracing, wholly accepting, wholly giving. And so I do think that mystic is a good choice for it. I think I was just a little mentally cemented into my original offer of profound, though I do like that too, because it has the idea of depth and deepness and significance. Really, if you can kind of envision the bottom of the sea floor, that's Shren. And if you can envision all life emerging from that primordial ooze of the sea floor, what did it have to be like down there to give all that life rise? It had to have a really profound, deep, mysterious duh that it was following that allowed all this to flourish. That is us now here, life on Zoom. There's probably not a lot of not a lot of sea anemone thought of how to send an email.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Amang. Mark, please.
Thanks for that. And it seems like tiny lid suggests hiddenness. And then you brought up the sea floor. And now that I'm seeing all these characters so clearly in your Google Drive disk, I'm not sure, maybe we did, but did we dissect the character for day? Because it looks complicated.
No, we don't.
Oh, please, I'll get to that.
Yeah, well, let's put it this way. Some words, I don't think we should dissect the word. The reason is if the word has multi-layer of meaning. So, for example, De is a good example. That's what exactly I want to talk about on this chapter. I like to this part, right? Here you talk about Tao produce them, De raises them. Okay, I assume them means everything. So here, grow them, nurtures them, stabilize them, mature them, support them, and shield them. You talk about De's function, De's action. So this De is, you can see this immoral. There's no moral sense here. Okay, it just have a function. But when we go to Confucius analect, the meaning of De is totally different. Okay, so if we dissect this De, will be different in analect and in Dao De Jing. So in this case, this De have a different meaning in Tao Te Ching and then in Confucius analect. That's the point. And then I always use dissection or etymology as the last choice. Okay, because another thing I always go first is check the text during that period of time, see how they use this text. And if I find none or something, I will go to the radical or every part. Yeah, that's the way I'm doing. Yeah. Paul, please.
I was going to say, despite that, I will try to put the full etymology in here just so you can see it. It is polemic and complicated.
Paul, please.
Yeah, related to Aman's comment about the sea floor, this is bringing to mind sort of contrasts with other traditions that might very strongly suggest this deterministic march by the profound force that led to the existence of humans, the mankind, the Son of God kind of thing. But this conjures up something where some forces were put in place and then they just unfolded. And there wasn't a intense guidance. It was just let happen in the same way a king lets his people develop. So that's just a nice, amazing perspective that I find inspiring in a way.
Thank you, Paul. Let me see. Okay, let's move on. 52. Anyone want to read?
Somebody else is going to have to read if I'm going to complete this etymology, guys.
Okay, Penny, please.
Okay, I'll read this. Because I liked it because it's got the mother in it.
Okay,
Chapter
great.
52. Embrace the mother. The world has its own beginning, which is regarded as the mother of the world. From the mother, you can understand her children. After knowing the children, you still need to embrace the mother. In this way, your whole life can be lived away from dangers. Close the mouth, shut the door, and the whole of life is not hard. Open the mouth, engage in worldly affairs, and the whole of life is not safe. To see the small is to be enlightened. To embrace the soft is to be strong. Use light to return enlightened. The rest of life won't be dangerous. This is called following the usual, the Tao.
So Penny, you have any comment about the mother?
Of course, I like the imagery of the mother as the kind of the beginning of the world. And that if you understand kind of the beginning of the world, which from the previous verse would really be the Tao, right? Then you can understand everything in the world that's been created as part of the mother. But when you look at all the things that have been created in the world, you still need to try to return to the Tao, which is the source of everything. And I think they're saying if you kind of look internally and try to understand the world from the viewpoint of yourself and what it means to be living in the world and what you should do without considering all the things that the world might have listed that it thinks you ought to do. So the world has a whole list of things that it kind of says, you should do this, you should do that, you should do the other. And if you start doing all of those, then, you know, your life is going to be difficult. And, but if you kind of close off that outer world and look at the inner world and look at kind of the least, like to see the smallest to be enlightened, kind of what is the least I can do to be happy and satisfied in life. And just personally, then and kind of not doing, trying to embrace the strong, which I would say would be the things the world says you ought to do, but embrace the soft, which is the thing that you get for looking internally, then your life will be good. And that would be following the Tao, which is the usual, which is basically, as we said, the general pathway, which has created everything.
Thank you, Penny. And then the first detailed explanation. And thank you for sharing your thought. I think Yulia is here. And okay, that's a translation issue here. We talk about sometimes I translate appear, right? Seemingly, because they have the Chinese word. But here, I translate as is. To see the small is to be enlightenment. To embrace the soft is. Okay, I do not use seemingly because there's the Chinese word called yue. Okay, so that's a affirmative. That's why I translate as is. Okay, but sometimes they use raw. Okay, that means I translate as seemingly. But unfortunately, a lot of time they don't have a verb, so I have to guess. Okay, so that's the situation. Danny, please.
Yeah, this thing may remind me about, there's a lot of things when you talk about in past they talk the three heavenly mother, we call it heavenly mother, is their place where our souls is birth. We are their children. So that's how a lot of things about when you talk about that, we talk about mothership. And in the past, I believe I went to in my one of the cultivation courses I took, you know, from my temple. They mentioned in the past, all the writing is reading women's stamp before the man. Everything is reading with the women in character in front, and so for throughout the century it got changed. So don't know what happened. Man took over and so forth, but they all embraced the mother first. And a lot of people would say, if you talk to a children, like, oh, okay, who your father is, nobody said, none of the children, like, I don't know my father, but I know who is my mother is because she's the one that always there. When I open the eyes, she's going to be there, and so forth. So until if my mother tells me who's my father, then I know who my father is. That's is a saying in Latin America. I don't know who my father is, but my mother, as long as my mother tells me who that's my father, yeah, that's my father. but I know who my mother is. And that's one of the sayings in Latin America was saying. But like I said, most people, to know the mother is to know the children, is of course, is the mother is usually teach the children what everything, now that they know how the mother treats and so on.
Thank you, Danny.
No
Okay,
problem.
so okay, let's move on. Okay, 53. Anyone want to read? Oh, we have it.
Donna hasn't read yet.
Okay.
Okay, the great Tao. I know little wisdom. When traveling on the great Tao, I only fear to be on any wavy routes. The great Tao is very smooth, but people prefer shortcuts. The courts have been abandoned. The fields have grown weeds. The storehouses have been depleted. The nobles wear finery, carry precious swords, indulge in food and drink, and possess excessive wealth and goods. This is showing off what has been plundered, not the Tao indeed.
Do you have any comment?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay, that's fine. Anyone has a question, comment about this one? Okay, we probably have to assume this one is easy. So, okay, we are doing well on the time. So we probably go two more. Oh, this one is long. I try to save this one for Kwang, but he seems not here.
I'm here.
Oh, you want to read this one? Because I
Which
think
one?
that I should challenge you with a difficult one, not the easy one. So
We at 55 or 56?
yeah, 55.
Okay, yes, possessing the, yes.
Okay, so that's a complete on the 54 today. I know the rest are short. And so we will, after Kwang, we will finish 54. And the next week, we will from 55 to 81. I think that's about right.
Yeah, we're on 54 now.
Yeah, thank you, Kwang.
Okay, so so it's 55, right?
No, 54.
54, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
So
because
54,
55 is short, so 54 is long. That's why I saved for you.
okay. How generous from you, Jason. So 54.
And this one is also related to your expertise about epistemology, about kind of associated with Confucius energy.
Okay, right. Okay, 54, well built. What is well built cannot be uprooted. What is well held cannot be stripped off. The ancestry worshipped by descendants won't be disregarded. Cultivate it in yourself, the is genuine. Cultivate it in your family, the is abundant. Cultivate it in your village, the is lasting. Cultivate it in your state, the is prosperous. Cultivate it in the world, the is universal. Therefore, through yourself, you can observe others' selves. Through your family, you can observe others' families. Through your village, you can observe others' village. Through your state, you can observe other states. And through your world, you can understand the world. How do I know the situation of the world? By means of this. Okay, end of the stanza.
So you like it? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I agree that it's a very interesting stanza that is really a kind, once again, like the last one, the 81, a kind of conciliation of Confucianism and Taoism. Because I think that those who come here regularly are beginning to get used with one of my catchphrases, that we human being is at a crossroad, okay, symbolized by a cross, and the center of the cross is our heart, and the vertical reality is infinite awareness, and the horizontal dimensions is the intellect operating within the world. Okay, and here it's very interesting because the stanza will give 5 levels of horizontal dimensions. Yourself, meaning each of us, our family, our village, our state, and our world. Okay, so those are the vertical dimensions of our reality. But the vertical reality is the Te. Okay, the Te is precisely that gift from infinite awareness. Okay, so those who have a problem with infinite awareness is the name of my God. So if you don't like infinite awareness, you can think to God, for example. So so that's what I call the vertical reality, that invisible reality. Because once again, I quoted the Chong Yong last time, I think, and I said that at the end of the Chong Yong, the last sentence is ultimate greatness is invisible. So it's that vertical dimension or reality that is precisely that ultimate greatness, which is invisible. And the horizontal dimensions is the dimension which are, here they name 5 levels, which are visible to the senses, which are visible to the mind, because the mind, after all, is a kind of general supervisors of the sense of perception, of the intellect, and so on. So yes, I'm thankful to Jason for waiting for me for that one, because absolutely I love that one. So
do you see the same flavor, this one with the great learning?
Oh yes. More with, well, for me, I don't see them as separate. Okay, I see them as a square, meaning the great learning, Ta Sui, Zhong Yong, the Mencius, and the Lun Yu, the Analects. For me, they are 4 corners of the same square, with at the center of the square the image of the synthetic image of the epistemological development, meaning the an hexagram. Okay, so I see them as together, but definitely it's part of the Ta Sui, and it also reminds of the Chong Yong, because the Chong Yong is more dealing with the vertical reality. Okay, once again, I want to read the first sentence of I want to state the first sentence of the Chong Yong by memory. What is ordained by heaven is called our nature. To lead by our nature is called the Tao, and to cultivate the Tao is called the teaching. Okay, that is the vertical reality that is mentioned in that stanza 54. And in the Ta Sui, the gentleman would have to cultivate himself, to put order in his family, to assist in the governance of the state, and to bring peace to the world. So in the Ta Sui, they would mention 4 horizontal dimensions, and in this stanza, they would mention 5. But I mean, that's okay. It's a detail. So that's why.
Yes. So you consider this one in your idea is a horizontal, not vertical?
No, it's horizontal because it's manifest in space-time energy matter. Okay, if it is visible, it's horizontal. If it is invisible, that's vertical. That's why at the end of the Chong Yong, if you remember, Jason, ultimate greatness is invisible. That's the vertical reality of Te. That's why this stanza is speaking at the same time of the vertical reality and of the horizontal dimensions. And I read again that the famous paragraph that I like very much. Cultivate it in yourself, that the horizontal dimension Te is genuine. That is the vertical reality of Te. And after Te, cultivate it in your family, horizontal, but Te is abundant. That's the vertical stuff. Cultivate it in your village, horizontal. Te is lasting, vertical. Cultivate it in your state, horizontal. Te is prosperous, vertical. Cultivate it in the world, horizontal. Te is universal, vertical. So this paragraph is so beautiful because it is the synthesis of the vertical reality and of they chose 5 horizontal dimensions, what are, I would say, the obvious 5 horizontal dimensions for all of us, meaning taking care of ourselves, of our family, of our village, or of towns, of city, as you want, state, and finally, the human world. So really beautiful stanza. And it ends with the understanding of the other, which is a mix, once again, of horizontal and vertical.
Thank you, Kwang. And then I think here we probably want to put stop here, and then I will hand over to Shirinkang. Okay, Shirinkang, you want to say something? Okay, so that's I thank you, Kwang, for the. I think we have only 2 difficult chapters today, from 38 to 54. Okay, so you start from 38 and close at 54. Thank you so very much. Okay, and then next week we will go over from 54 to 81 based on the same format. And the purpose is not to understand, resolve all the questions. The purpose is to refresh your memory, and then we will agree on our disagreement and recognize your question and without any answer, and that's the purpose. And then thank you, everyone. And then I will hand over to Shirinkang and for the second part of the discussion. And don't forget, next week we will continue, and then week after we will recontinue our analyte from book 16. Okay. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Jason. I just want to comment on a couple of things. I really like this. Jason, if you have a minute, can you share the screen again?
Yes, just 1 minute. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I have some comments on this, and then I would like to have a more kind of a general conversation for anybody who wants to stick around. I really love this this particular verse. There are 2 things I love about it. One is that, the Tao or the again, my understanding of the Tao Te Ching is very limited. But what the Tao is getting at, what the Te is getting at, is a universal principle that runs through everything. And this is a very beautiful way of saying that it runs through everything. What it is doing is that it is saying it in one way first by changing the scales. So cultivate it in yourself. The is genuine. So it's like saying, okay, it applies to you. When you cultivate it in you, it is expressed as genuine. Cultivate in your family. So the same principle, the applies on every scale of yourself, family, village, state, and world. So that's one in a spatial way. It's a very beautiful way of stating that this is the universal principle. And then, secondly, I also like the second part, is that if you see it in yourself, then you can see it in others. If you can see it in your family, you can see it in other families, and so on. So it is, on one hand, what I would call, theosis, in the sense that you are seeing the universal principle manifested in you. And if you can see it manifested in you, you can see it manifested in others. If you can see it, or if you can cultivate it in your own family or within your own village, then you can observe it in other families or other villages. So it's a very like step-by-step process, firstly in the spatial sense, and then saying that if you get it right in one space, then you can see it applicable everywhere. So it's a very beautiful way of stating what it means to be a universal principle that runs through it. So that's what I had.
Thank you, Xun. I think that we should introduce great learning. Okay, that's the same structure. Okay, but anyway,
right. Thank you, Jason. All right. So I just want to kind of continue the conversation with anybody who wants to continue. Kwan, I don't know what your situation is. Are you